Our lovely new White House press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, held the first White House press briefing today, going face-to-face with the fake news. And it was very enlightening, and she revealed a fantastic new policy, which I'll get into in a moment. Of course, many in the media are very upset that promises made, promises kept regarding the mass deportations and roundups and arrests.
Caroline, on immigration. Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
To be clear, all of them were dangerous criminals, but this is a very smart tactic. It's sending the message to all of the criminal invaders that maybe it's time that they start to self-deport. She also gave an update on DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, and they're already making the government, well, more efficient.
DOGE and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on.
It absolutely is a waste of money, just like the billions of dollars a year of our tax dollars that are sent to Israel every single year. And not just because of the latest Hamas-Israel war. I'm talking every single year for decades. But you're not supposed to be upset about that. That would get you called anti-Semitic. No more foreign aid, says the Conservative Inc. political pundits and talk show hosts, except for Israel. She also shed some light on the mysterious drones that were hovering around New Jersey, a story that also mysteriously just disappeared. But here's what she found.
I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office from President Trump directly. An update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
And they weren't aliens either. Did you see the ridiculous footage aired by News Nation in their exclusive special about the recovered, unidentified flying object, egg-shaped supposed craft, which just looks like a blimp that is being moved. It's set on the ground there and then starts rolling. I was going to do an entire video about this, but then it just got too ridiculous and the news cycle just changed. Maybe I will in the future. This is the supposed whistleblower who looks like he's seen an alien and says that he flew the helicopter that retrieved the supposed crashed craft, which he says started talking to him psychically as he was approaching it. And it has become his friend, and it now protects him. So he's not worried about any repercussions for blowing the whistle because the NHI, the non-human intelligence, as they say, is his new supernatural friend.
Once it was just me and that object in between the pick and the drop site, there's about 20 miles in between, I felt like something was inside of me. I felt like I was possessed by the most beautiful spirit I'd ever been possessed by. And
was it loving?
It was loving. But there was a sense of sadness at the same time. And
it's called You're Having a Mental Breakdown, sir. I don't want to get too far off the topic and down the UFO rabbit hole in this video, maybe in another, but there is a fascinating documentary called Mirage Men, which covers the situation about a guy who lived across the street from an Air Force base that was testing all sorts of experimental aircraft, and he started poking his nose around, and so the military literally sent a disinformation agent to him, Richard Doty, and then told him that he was a whistleblower from the government, and he was feeding this guy disinformation, claiming that the experimental craft were actually aliens in order to discredit the guy, so that when people started looking into what he was saying about what was happening at the base, they just wrote him off as being crazy. Stay tuned, because there's plenty more to come in this video, but real quick, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, because obviously you're not going to find information and analysis like this anywhere else. The highlight and the biggest news to come out of the first White House press briefing, which is absolutely fantastic, is this.
Millions of Americans, especially young people, have turned from traditional television outlets and newspapers to consume their news from podcasts, blogs, social media, and other independent outlets. It's essential to our team that we share President Trump's message everywhere and adapt this White House to the new media landscape in 2025. To do this, I'm excited to announce the following changes will be made to this historic James S. Brady briefing room, where Mr. Brady's legacy will endure. This White House believes strongly in the First Amendment, so it's why our team will work diligently to restore the press passes of the 440 journalists whose passes were wrongly revoked by the previous administration.
Oh, that's just the start. Wait for it.
We're also opening up this briefing room to new media voices who produce news-related content and whose outlet is not already represented by one of the seats in this room. We welcome independent journalists, podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House.
Yes!
And you can apply now on our new website, whitehouse.gov/newmedia.
Yes!
Starting today, this seat in the front of the room, which is usually occupied by the press secretary's staff, will be called the new media seat. My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
Do you understand how awesome this is on several different levels? So not only do we, and of course I will apply for this, have a chance to get access to the White House press briefings to ask the press secretary questions, but also that means that we can troll the fake news media to their faces and then just get content on our phones and upload it online that way. I actually am much more excited to see the new media confronting the old media and then seeing clips like this. Like when I bumped into Jim Acosta in the White House Rose Garden when I was invited to the White House Social Media Summit by President Trump back in 2019.
Hey Jim, how come your book didn't make it above the top 50 on Amazon's bestseller list?
It was a New York Times bestseller.
Well, that's an honorary title, of course. It fell off the
Wall
Amazon
Street Journal bestseller.
It fell off the Amazon
USA Today bestseller was also a bestseller in Canada.
It fell off the Amazon
Look it
top
all
one.
up yourself.
It fell off the Amazon top 100 list after 2 days. So.
How does it feel to live in your mother's basement?
Actually, I make my videos in my kitchen, which get about a third of the views of your mainstream shows.
Your mother's kitchen?
It's my kitchen. That's fun, Jim.
Let's be respectful.
Obviously, I was way too nice to him there. I was on my best behavior because I didn't want to bring any heat to President Trump from inviting a bunch of YouTubers and social media personalities to the White House. I didn't want to cause any problems for them. And so, luckily, I did then bump into Jim Acosta later outside the White House. And I still was too nice to him, but this is what happened there.
Back at it, huh? How's Mom?
So you just pull out these corny lines, Jim. My book beat yours on Amazon.
Is that right? Wow.
It did. The true story of fake news.
Were you able to color inside the lines?
You see, this is how arrogant, Jim, this is how arrogant you guys are, though. I'm just a YouTuber on my laptop in my kitchen,
Gotcha. Okay.
and my book sold more than yours, Jim. My YouTube videos get a third of Anderson Cooper's views, and you're disrespecting me because you're so arrogant, Jim.
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but hey, since you're recording me, I'll
Yeah,
record
sure.
you guys.
Hey,
There you
thanks
go.
for unblocking me on
Yeah.
Twitter, though, by the
You know-
way. Jim, I think you owe me an apology for thinking that I make my YouTube videos in my mother's basement. Make them in the kitchen, Jim.
You know, if
on
it's
my
your mother's-
laptop.
If it's your mother's kitchen or your mother's
No,
basement, I
but
apologize.
seriously though, Jim.
Let me just correct the record here. I'm sorry that
in Mark Dice's kitchen.
I'm sorry that I said it was in your mother's basement when it was in your mother's kitchen. I apologize.
It's my kitchen, Jim.
I see.
And
All
this
right.
just shows you how arrogant you are about the new social
Mark,
media technology.
It would be great if you could find a gainful career besides what you're
writing
doing right
best-selling
now,
books
where
and
you're-
becoming a top YouTuber and
you know, you're just
being a
harassing
social
people out on the
influencer,
street. I mean,
supporting the
it's a
president,
hell of a life-
debunking fake news
it's
from
a
the
hell of a
Clown
life
News
that you
Network.
carved out for yourself.
It
I have
is
to say,
fantastic.
you know.
I'm living the dream, Jim. It's
Yeah.
amazing. God has blessed me with
Yeah,
so
wow.
much.
If that's
This
what
is
you
a
call it.
divine appointment, Jim.
Yeah, well, it's great to hear. You know, you're a hell of an American, and it seems like what you're doing out here is making a real difference. So
Oh, thank you so much. It
appreciate
really
that.
is. I feel that every day.
Well, I just hope that you give my best to your mother. I hope you move.
You
from
sound like a broken record. No wonder why your ratings are failing.
I hope you move
No-
from the basement to the attic.
No wonder why my videos are crushing the Clown News Network. A guy on a laptop.
I'm not sure if that's the case. I've never heard of you. I've never heard of what you do.
I'm a media analyst and a YouTuber. You've heard of YouTubers before?
I've heard of YouTube, but I've never heard of you. Mark, what did you say your last name
It's
was?
Mark Dice.
Dice.
Have a nice life, Fake Jim. Great to see you again, though.
Well, good
Can
to
I get
see
a handshake
too.
from
Hey,
you?
no, that's okay, but have a good night.
You won't even shake a colleague's hand?
Say hi to your mother for me.
I'm the #1 conservative YouTuber, and we can't part on positive ways,
I
Jim.
just really hope that the basement that you are moving
It's
out
the
of
kitchen. No, it's the
and
kitchen
up
where the
to
videos are made.
Up to the attic is
Where I'm
comfortable
getting
for you.
millions of viewers and just impacting the culture in the
say.
country
So
and
you say,
supporting
yes.
our fantastic president, the
Well,
greatest in modern
The
history.
wonderful thing about it was I just didn't even know who you were.
That's
So-
okay. Come on,
Well,
give me a handshake and we'll call it a night.
I'm sorry, guys.
Shake.
You guys have a good
How
night. Take
rude
care.
are you, Jim? Well, you have a nice life.
Into the basement or the attic. whichever
You're a
it is.
broken record, Jim. Come on, something new. Some new material.
When your mother calls you home,
You really are this ignorant that you
when she
don't
calls
understand
when
the
she
power
calls-
of
when she calls
YouTube?
you home, how does that go?
Jim,
What does that sound like?
you are
Does
an
she ring the dinner
NPC.
bell?
You're an NPC. You're spouting nonsense.
You see this guy?
Oh my gosh. He's a fan, I'm
Maybe
sure.
he'll harass the children too.
Hey, this is teasing, Jim. It's teasing. It's not harassment. Get it right.
I see.
Now, as soon as I stopped recording and I put my phone in my pocket, he turned around and screamed at me twice, F you. Very loud, very angry, but he didn't want that to be captured on camera. But sadly, even if I do get a White House press pass, I probably won't bump into Jim Acosta again because he quit CNN today after the network decided to cancel his show and then move him to the midnight time slot. So that's the equivalent of what happened to this guy in Office Space. And so instead, he just quit. And maybe that was their way to try to just force him to quit. They didn't want to fire him. And so they're just like, oh, yeah, okay, we'll just move you to midnight, Jim, where nobody watches. President Trump posted on Truth Social, wow, really good news. Jim Acosta, one of the worst and most dishonest reporters in journalism history, a major sleazebag, has been relegated by CNN fake news to the midnight hour. Death Valley because of the extraordinarily bad ratings and no talent. Word is that he wants to quit, and that would be even better. Jim Acosta is a major loser who will fail no matter where he ends up. Good luck, Jim. I'm gonna miss Jim. Who could forget when he inadvertently showed how well President Trump's wall was working when he surprisingly left his cushy New York studio to head down to the border.
And here are some of the steel slats that the president's been talking about right here. As you can see, yes, you can see through these slats to the other side of the U.S.-Mexico border. But as we're walking along here, we're not seeing any kind of imminent danger. There are no migrants trying to rush toward this fence here in the McAllen, Texas area. As a matter of fact, there are some other businesses behind me along this highway. There's a gas station, Burger King, and so on. But no sign of the national emergency that the president has been talking about. As a matter of fact, it's pretty tranquil down here.
That's what fences do. They make for good neighbors. And here's a little highlight reel I put together in loving memory of Jim Acosta's career.
Mr. President, will you stop calling us the enemy of the people, sir? Will you stop calling the press the enemy of the people, sir?
Shut up, you
Mr.
moron.
President, will you stop calling the press the enemy of the people, sir?
Get out of here.
Everybody, thank you. Mr. President, if there is no collusion, why does Rudy Giuliani keep saying there is no crime and collusion?
Let's go.
Mr. President, do you think other
Jim,
countries,
let's go.
Mr. President, do you think
Keep
other
going,
countries
Jim,
should not
let's
allow
go.
children to stay with their
Jim,
parents
we're
if they come
leaving.
in?
He is the loudest, most obnoxious person in the room.
Come on, Jim. Go. We're done.
Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
since you are attacking our news organization, can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are
is
attacking our news organization.
Your organization
Can you give us a
is
chance to
terrible.
ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can
Quiet.
you state,
Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking a
categorically,
question. Don't
Mr.
be
President-elect, can you give us a question?
be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be.
Can you
I'm
give
not
us a
gonna
question?
I'm not going to give you a
Can you
question.
can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
Oh, and that was the beginning of the Trump administration. That was when Donald Trump really sent that term into the stratosphere.
No, Mr. President-elect, that's not appropriate.
And, I think, maybe we should make some bumper stickers, make some buttons. Maybe we should go out on Pennsylvania Avenue like these folks who chant CNN sucks and
The woman is just looking at him with pity.
fake news. Maybe we should go out, all journalists should go out on Pennsylvania Avenue and chant, we're not the enemy of the people.
But you are!
Because I'm tired of this.
Goodbye, Jim, but I hope I'll see you again soon. And if you need any help becoming a YouTuber, which is undoubtedly where you're going to end up, well, then go screw yourself. I sure miss the good old days when YouTube was for YouTubers before the interlopers all invaded our platform. Speaking of YouTubers, obviously I do have some merch, which you should order from my online store, markdice.com. Click the link in the description below. Like your liberal tears mug, the classic Trump fight, fight, fight shirt. And by the way, the site has been redesigned with a whole bunch of new different products. So if you go up at the top and you click the t-shirts link, the hoodies link, the women's designs, there's a whole bunch of drinkware, long sleeves as well. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.